Hi everyone, and welcome to my video on graphs of sine and cosine with vertical translations. Now, again, if you are following the Cambridge textbook with me at this moment in time, that title was way longer with epsilons and pluses and minuses, and I'm not going. Now, my name is Darren from Maths Guru. Thank you so much for finding this video. Hopefully, you are going to find it useful. Behind me are the learning objectives, which is important to know. Well, what actually are you even going to cover? Know how to read and translate graphs of sine and cosine parallel to the x-axis. Know how to read and translate graphs of sine and cosine parallel to the y-axis. And be able to understand that DRT still applies. So DRT, dilations, reflections, and translations. Now, in previous videos, and this is the second really of this section, where initially we looked at dilating a sine and cosine function from both the x-axis and the y-axis. The last video was about, well, not only dilating, but also now translating in a horizontal sense. And we're building it up to the final video here, where we are going to be basically going to do free fall, all of it. You know, we're going to dilate and reflect and translate the whole kit and caboodle. Now, if you found this work really challenging, I really do urge you to go and make sure you practice and practice and practice. And you're going to make mistakes, and it will take you some time. But the work you put into this now will make sure that if you do methods in year 12, that you will absolutely smash this. Because if you look back at what this methods course seems to be about, it's ultimately find a function, sketch it, find crossing points, maximums, minimums, axis intercepts, all those type of things. All right. And really, that's what methods tends to boil down to. And then we just put them into application style questions. Right. So what are we looking at here? In the last lesson, we had this idea of a function here. Now, again, be able to look at this and not be intimidated by it, but go, I know where my dilations are. So you look at this and you say, well, that's a dilation of factor 3 from the x-axis. That's just going to change my amplitude. That 2 there is outside of a sector bracket. Aha, VCAA, you are not going to trick me. I'm going to make sure that my dilation there is going to work appropriately, but more importantly, so is my translation. That value inside is a translation from in a horizontal sense. Now, again, that minus pi and 4 means the graph would move that way by pi and 4. And what is more important than anything is not only the domain, they're telling you they only want this function, this sine curve, this transform sine curve, the section that falls between pi and 4 and 5 pi and 4, but it's got to be inclusive of those two values. Again, the idea of open circles and closed circles becomes really important. Now, how do we show a vertical translation? Well, in this situation, if I was to take that previous function and try and vertically translate, then it's this value on the end here. So if I have this sort of lone constant that's a +2, -3, whatever's on the end of there, that means now we are going to end up dilating it, translating it horizontally, and now move it up or down appropriately. And if you remember, that +2 means that in this situation, it's actually going to move the whole function up by 2. Now, again, please be aware that you must follow the dilations, reflections, and translations in that order. So dilate first with the 3 and the 2, then reflect. In this particular function, there's no reflections, and then you would be translating horizontally first, and then vertically. And I would always do the horizontal translations first. It makes life a lot easier than trying to do the vertical first and whatever else. Okay, so let's have a look at an example now. To not blow out the length of this video, hopefully you're going to realize that I tend to break this down into stages. I always start with the base function, and then I build it up section by section. And I do this as a pencil sketch on the side of my exam paper. It takes 30 seconds to do it. I use a rubber, I cross things through, but on the whole, I never ever lose any marks for these questions because I've got a process. I'm trying to just visualize it all in my head. And for those of you who can do that, ooh, you are very impressive. Right. So if we were now going to try and draw this function here, right, if you remember, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my base function. My base function is sine. I'm going to draw one cycle of sine. Right, now again, if I was drawing this, Desmos didn't do this for me, but I'd be putting 0 here. That would be pi on 2. That would be pi. That would be 3 pi on 2. And that would be 2 pi. Why? Because it's going to make my life a lot easier when I start dilating away from the x-axis and the y-axis. Right, so I always do the value outside the function first, that 3 first, because now it means I'm going to effectively change my amplitude. What was an amplitude of 1 now becomes an amplitude of 3. My crossing points stay exactly the same when I dilate away from the x-axis. Stays exactly the same. Oh, sound effects. Right, so that's my 3 done.